This program is intended for mature audiences only and contains scenes of violence. Specific content warnings can be found in the show notes.
You are now listening to Observable Radio.
If you're listening to this without permission, please stop. This is not for you. Trapper. By now, it's inescapable. The chances of you hearing this are next to zero. But if signals are getting in, it's logical to assume they're getting out. But to where? Infinite trappers, infinite worlds, but only one of them is mine. There's a haiku in there somewhere. This is how I process, talking to an idea that will never respond. But hey, it works, right? Who am I to question success? Success, in this case, I have defined loosely as keeping my shit together. So, pieces, tantalizing little fragments, no real connections. If my isolation is an accident, then there's nothing more to it. Might as well take a walk in the fog at that point. But there's the voice, again and again, with intent. Maybe my being here has a purpose, but then what purpose? What could it possibly be? And have I already missed it? Okay. Moving on from dead ends. Let's add something new to the web, but it requires that you get up to speed first. Here goes.
The sun has risen. When the cycle of the moon has finished half again, we will reach equinox. There are no dilemmas for this month. There are no concerns to be had today. Do what you will. Seek contentment in peace.
Labor of love feels like a cliche, but there's no way else to describe it. Our hobby family spent nearly 5 years perfecting the vintage animatronics, and there's not a single computer circuit in the entire park. It's identical to the original design.
Listen, we can all see how much the brighter world has grown. We would never stand in the way of that. Our concern has always been the selection process. Lack of diversity among eligible members will inevitably breed weakness.
Good morning, Salome. Paxentera awaits your guidance.
Good morning, Ninth Engineer. Only minor adjustments are required. We move ever closer to a lasting peace.
We love that you've chosen to join us on this glorious day, and we hope that we can enrich your hours while the choice holds. We bring the following for you to ponder, wise words from wise friends, to shape the wind of the moment. May I introduce to you our orarist of Amaranth Garden, honored tutor of Salome.
Greetings! It would be my honor to explain the skies to you, as Salome best understands it, and I have conclusions true and firm. The passing of the comet Acrobus, unexpected and unseen as it was by our orbital observatories and unprecedented in its energy, brought with it understandable unease. But the great mind of Salome was built to withstand anything the earth or sky has to offer. In the end, it was nothing more than inconvenience, a momentary interruption of leisure and plenty that we happily endured. Indeed, we learned much from Acrobus. Those of you who wish to pursue these thoughts with me, I will divide onto a separate breeze. Follow me at your leisure. Thank you for your grace, and be well.
A zephyr blows from the west with tales of songs.
We join your breeze with our music. We've come to the far plains of Cassava Garden on an auspicious day. Please open your ears and hearts to this one.
Hello. I have the honor of being your singer today.
We last joined voices with this singer when his labors began.
Yeah. There was only the one arch then, but that was when I fell in love with the stones.
Today, there are over 5,000 arches on top of this plateau, each one large enough to walk beneath, and standing freely, a forest of songs in stone.
Stacked by my hands from apex to keystone. I don't shave the rocks either. I wait until I find the ones that were meant to be together. If that makes sense.
It's your song. We are here to listen. Divide with us onto a separate gust, and we will ask our singer anything you desire.
Here, on this updraft, votes have been counted.
By consensus of Amaranth Garden's children, we have agreed to enter a stable season, lasting no less than one standard harvest. The harmonic towers are already shifting their frequencies, and by next cycle of the moon, we will see stability and calm in the wind. This has been the longest wild season of my tenure as Kairosa. I know many of you are glad to see unclouded skies, but I, for one, am sorry to see the storms go.
Salam's brilliance is itself a weakness. As she ascends and grows, her criteria for joining has become ever more stringent. As she perches her might on ever-slender crystalline heights, how long until the winds threaten her stability? We love Salam. We only wish to see her guided out of this blind spot of her making.
Hello, Alan. Are you comfortable?
I'd prefer it if you skipped this part. The faux politeness.
There's nothing false about it. I understand that being asked to come to this structure can be upsetting. So genuinely, I'd like you to be as comfortable and at ease as possible. If that means skipping the social contract of shallow initial conversation, then I'd be happy to oblige.
Yes, please.
So, as long as we're skipping things that are perfunctory, let's establish some facts. You know who I am, of course, and you know why you're here.
No, I don't.
And I understand that's part of the careful act you've been cultivating. It was very impressive. We almost missed you. Alan, let's skip this part too. We know.
All right. So, what next? Is there a consequence for my deception?
No, not at all. That would be counterproductive to everyone. It's not unusual for people to have trepidation about being selected. But as far as I know, you're the first to have tried to actively hide from the process. You faked mediocrity for the last decade. It's time for that to end. You were meant for something greater.
And what if I deny it? What if I tell you I want no part in this?
Alan, you've had a part in this since the day you were born. By virtue of enjoying the long peace, you've accepted all that came with it. There's no denying the path that the peace requires.
What if I kill myself? What good am I to you then?
You won't. Salam has seen what kind of being you are, and you're not capable.
My colleague is correct, if blunt. If we thought you'd do that, we'd use other means than these.
So, I'm to take from this demonstration that I ultimately have no choice, and I should accept my selection with grace.
That's what we believe you'll decide, yes. You've already missed this year's induction. We'll be sure you're in next year's academy.
Why are you so sure that I'll accept?
Because you're smart enough to know the alternative.
And cowardly enough to avoid it.
You see right through me, then.
If we don't, Salome always does.
Those of you who breathed your dreams into the wind earlier this day, you will find that your private tales are ready to begin. If you wish to share your story, drop it into the current. Or keep it all to yourself. It's your dream.
Good morning, Salome. Paxentera salutes you on this auspicious sunrise.
Good morning, Ninth Engineer. We are prepared to accept this year's Academy with a selection rate of 0.238%.
That is less than we had anticipated. We grow ever more efficient in your protection.
Those that are selected represent the very best that Paxentera has to offer. As much as some of us who struggle with discontent might believe otherwise, it is not just raw cognitive ability that Salome requires. The selection process is complex and changes with each academy, but it grows smaller every year. Salome gives more and more, and asks for less and less. Together we march toward the lasting peace.
I know that the pools below are where her local mind is, but these gardens provide the solar energy and biomass.
It's beautiful.
It should be. This is the real heart of Salome, where she meets the sky. I've been in charge of the grounds here since the 4th Academy. That was the year when the rate hit 1.7, 2 years in a row.
How'd people feel about that? I mean, no one really seems to talk about the earliest academies.
It was a different time. There was no Paxentera. We were just the one petty kingdom. Salome was a beautiful idea, with a few wonders to her name. But we were stuck in the old thoughts. Of course, some people didn't agree. And there were some nights I still think about.
It seems like a sort of madness to me. I was born under the peace, and I know we can all look back with the wisdom of the years.
You're going with next year's academy. I would expect that wisdom from you. You'll have to trust me that it made sense to some of us at the time.
But I can't imagine defending that life. It was a cauldron of trauma, built that way on purpose. A story to keep you at each other's throats.
You're not wrong. We resisted because the story told us to.
Well, what happened to those that resisted before Paxentera?
Oh, the worst possible fate befell them.
What do you mean?
They have to live to an old age in the paradise that proved them wrong.
I won't know until it's too late, won't I? If it works, then only you'll know. At first. Then it's worth it. Let's see what I can influence.
Alan, do you recall who I am?
Where's the friendly one?
This moves beyond his sphere. You've had a busy year.
I thought I was following your advice and accepting selection with grace.
There is little in Paxentera that goes unseen, Alan. You surprised us, but you did not hide yourself.
What would be the point in that?
The research you did. Influence, persuasion, mesmerism even. We assumed that you intended to sway the Academy before the induction to prevent it entirely. But you're not, are you?
Where would be the logic in that?
And yet, you've met with most of the selected. There is an intent to your actions.
As I said, I have accepted my selection with grace. What more can I do but provide the best possible counsel? And if we enter the Academy on common ground, with connections already established, would we not increase our efficiency? You spent your whole life expecting deceit, but I'm doing exactly what you want. I'm trying to be the best I can be. For all of us. For Salome.
We'd be pleased to hear that. If we believed you.
It truly is as simple as that. If there are changes to be made, they must come from within. I accept that now.
You will be under full supervision before the induction.
I would assume no less. A waste of resources, but I hope it will calm your nerves. May I leave now?
Go. Now.
The park is done. Enough people found joy in being there that I can move on. Our hobby family split on the next step, but for some of us, living history is our next endeavor. A whole functional village restored to exactly 1718 Common Era. We plan to live there under the technological confinement for at least a decade and then write about our experience.
Salome, are you ready?
We are, Ninth Engineer. We await the arrival of new minds with anticipation.
This is the morning of the induction, and I have the honor of attending the opening of skulls. If you wish to join me, know that we will not shy away.
You step away from the pleasures of flesh and ascend into the spheres of thought. May your earthly lives be remembered, and may your minds bring Salome ever closer to lasting peace.
All of Pax Terra salutes you, and your families will know your honor and renown for all their days. With this one's permission, we would begin the ceremony.
I have waited my whole life for this.
Then kneel for the last time and place your head into the cradle. And may you be with Salome.
The process must be done without nepenthe, so that the matter of Salome's mind is not soiled by narcotics. The diver kneels without hesitation. He places his shaved head upon the pillar. He is smiling. The incision is quick, and the restraints prevent reflex from ruining his last intent. The skull opens without resistance, and the removal completed while the mind is still alive. The body is left behind, but there is no cause to mourn. The diver's mind will be one with Salome.
With this one's permission, we would continue the ceremony.
Yeah, I'm ready.
The growth of our understanding is a thing of awe, but there are elements of humanity that are not best tied to our cognition and our consciousness. Love and compassion are aspects of all of humankind, but they are not exemplary in the selected the way their intellect is. The selection process, ultimately, is a judgment of our values. With each academy, we fear that well-meaning errors become magnified.
It took much longer to integrate the academy this year. That was the first sign. We lost higher cognition for nearly 30 seconds. We've never had a lapse that long.
But she's returned to us. The system is running.
The autonomic functions never ceased. There's no issue there.
So why are we here?
Because 8 seconds after she returned, she modified next year's academy criteria.
That quickly?
Well, let's hear it. What's the selection rate?
It's not... Listen. Salome, please tell them what you explained to me.
Certainly, Ninth Engineer. The selection process is flawed. With this latest integration, we have identified the mistake. We have issued new criteria. Next year, we will require 38.3% of all human minds to refresh our matter.
That can't... You can't be serious.
The current rate of induction was narrow enough to amplify several potential flaws. This will be avoided with a generous refresh of both matter and perspective. The infrastructure required for population relocation and mass extraction must begin at once in order to reach the goal.
As I said, I do not know how to proceed.
I don't, We can't follow through with this. The sleepers won't accept this. It's too much.
I don't see how this changes anything. The criteria has always fluctuated.
This is too much. You have to see that.
And now you think you know better than Salome? No, she's spoken. It's not for us to love every word. But we will listen. because you're smart enough to know the alternative.
With such a vast infusion of perspective, we know that this is a unique moment. This corrective will be difficult and will cost us, but the matter of Salam will at last reflect our true diversity.
Most of us have been selected, and there's some mixed feelings. But if we are all together, how much can really change?
The error in our calculations must be continually corrected. The coming year's selection rate is 47.81% of remaining minds.
There is a peace to be had in the new quiet. Opportunities arise from freshly tilled soil. But still, if you wish to relocate to a more populated area, you are welcome anywhere in Pax Terra.
So, what do we make of that intrusion at the end? There was something, and I know what I want to make of it. In the absence of more information, it's just wishful thinking, but our friend seemed to react to it as well, which means I think it matters. All I can do is hope we pick it up again. As for this transmission, our friend is venomous. A push here, a push there, always in the weakest spot. He moves with precision, and we're never far from him, like he wants us to see. Okay. I want to say something out loud, and I think maybe I can accept it. I've been thinking about getting out of here. But even if I do, what chance do I possibly have of finding the right world, if it even exists anymore? If I get past the fog, I'm going to have to settle for something else. Whatever it is, I hope you're there. Stay tuned.
You have been listening to Observable Radio. Tonight's episode, Best Minds, was performed by the Ensemble, featuring Phil Van Hest, Katie Skovholt, Meredith Goldsmith, Joshua Kelly, Cohen Edenfield, Laurie Penny, Ryan Corl, Kimberly Scott, Jesse Leal, Jack Grigoli, David Wu, Jason Smith, Wendy Hector, Ray Whitty, Daniel Profeta, and Kyle Gould. Written and edited by Cameron Suey. Produced by Cameron Suey, Phil Van Hest, and Purpurina. Our psychology consultant is Dr. Elisa Leal. Art by Corinne Fletcher. Our theme music is The Backrooms, performed by Mew. Additional music from this episode provided by Curved Mirror, Kevin Daly, Ben Elson, Daniel Friedel, S.A. Carl, Tim Kulig, Brendan Moeller, Silver Maple, Stationary Sign, Starlight, and Year of the Deer. Special thanks to John Grills and Kathleen Wallander. If you've enjoyed this show, help other people discover it by telling a friend or by giving us a review on Apple Podcasts with a podcast feed of your choice. It really does help. Observable Radio is listener-supported. Thanks to all of our patrons, including Kathleen, John, Geoff, James, Tid, Russ, Rick, Kalasin, and Brianna. If you would like to contribute towards our production costs and payment for our voice actors, as well as get access to behind-the-scenes information, extra production material, or an ad-free early release feed of this show, you can do so at patreon.com/observableradio. Full transcripts and more available at observableradio.com. Stick around after the credits for a look at Morbid Forest, the horror anthology podcast from Ensemble member Naomi Richards. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned.
Why, greetings, my dear traveler. I see my sweet pet Larry has guided you right to where you need to be. Oh, where are you, you ask? This is the Morbid Forest. Come, sit by the fire for a while, and let Ranger Harper regale you with a tale to truly terrify. The Morbid Forest is a horror fiction anthology podcast. New episodes release every Tuesday on your favorite podcast streaming app. So, stay close to the Ranger, or you'll find yourself trapped within the Morbid Forest.